thought I'd just do a gentle sort of update. Well, it's just been the full moon. We had a blood moon eclipse only 2 nights ago, and the full moon is... I'm feeling it, and I think it's because it's the sort of autumn equinox full moon coming up. I really feel quite wired to go into a different phase of life right now, and to go within and start wrapping up for autumn. It's been raining at last, the weather's been up and down, it feels like we've gone into a very early autumn, and I feel like I've got a limited time of dry weather left to sort of wrap up all the loose ends for winter. And part of that is making lots of lovely medicinal potions, sort of flu, cold remedies. So I've been putting away a little bit of harvest. I made lots of blackberry jam, and then I wanted to make more because I dropped a jar, which I was gutted. It was really lovely jam, and I thought I just don't have enough of this jam. So I'm going to make some apple and plum jam. I was eating a plum the other day and I thought that would make nice jam. So yes, instead of blackberry, I'm going to make a different kind of jam. I've been making my sloe gin, which is looking right. I think this has been here about a week. So I put this in a week ago. Loads of sloes, nearly 2 kilos of sloes. And then a load of sugar, and I have to keep doing that for a few days, which is the good fun part. And then I think it's about ready to go in the cupboard and just forget about it for 12 months. So I've made some 4 Thieves vinegar, which is a great tonic for winter. Just a tablespoon gullop of vinegar, warm water and a dollop of honey is a great flu remedy. So I think it's the garlic mainly, but the taste of lavender and sage is such a sweet smell on your mouth. So I've tried to put as much away of that as I can. So I made a little batch when it was warm, August, and I thought I've got a few last sunny weeks to try and sun infuse, really long sun infuse some apple cider vinegar with herbs, with sage, rosemary, thyme, lavender, garlic. I'm going to do that for nearly a month, I think. The last batch I just made for just after 3 days. But this I want it really to be infused. I want that flavour to be strong. So I'm just waiting for things to culminate and come to fruition. I'd like to make some more fruit gins, fruit alcohol for Christmas. This one is great for cold. It's blackthorn, of course, that the sloes come from. And if you know anything about the magic of blackthorn, you know that it's a very protective plant and it can be used against baneful magic. And it can be used for baneful magic as well. So it's the long, thin spikes on the blackthorn have been used as pins in black magic, but also to take illnesses away as well, and to transfer that onto another being, which has got a name and I can't remember what that's called. Sympathetic magic, I think that comes under. So yeah, it's protective, so there's always good sense to me in putting away some sloe gin. So I'm going to share making some plum and apple jam with you, and just spending an afternoon pottering in the kitchen. The kitchen's been redecorated, sort of a little splash of red, but I don't know if you can see how dark that is. That is a very dark red. And I want to do something in here that sort of brightens the place up. But if I use that red over there, it'll just be very dark and gloomy. So I'm thinking it's time to redecorate maybe a feature wall over here and make it all autumnal. I've got my little altar here with all the pumpkins, and you know, it looks lovely in autumn, but it needs jazzing up in that corner, so I'm going to do that as well. So first I'm going to peel some plums, peel some apples, cut some plums, and wait for some jars to sterilise in the oven. So we'll get on with that. Today's episode is brought to you by the magic potion of coffee. It's a great time to brew some up. It is, it's very feeling it, very sort of, yeah. I like it when you sort of go within. I hate to say it, but when the hot weather stops sweating and it starts to just, it's like the calm after the storm, this part. It's always really sweet to just sit back. Sometimes you may have to face the future, but you know, just enjoying that silent time, that repose before it all gets hectic and survival. This is going to take ages. I'm not very good at peeling apples. Yes. That's it. I've got a knack. Less talking, more peeling. So I think it's very natural to, we have instincts, and mostly we're tuned out of them, but if you think about our ancestors, I mean, from the earliest times they would have thought about the winter and how they're going to get by without very little food in the area, how they're going to store food, how they're going to keep food, how they're going to keep warm. And these basic survival gears just kick in, and it's good to get in touch with that. It's your root chakra. It likes red, it likes orange, it likes warm things, it likes coziness, it likes grounding and plentiful food, and I think that's what I'm really enjoying getting in touch with at the moment. It's just my being, my body, my my will to live. So yeah, it's good to remember that base part of the being that we kind of forget in the modern world. But anyway, what I think I'm going to do is I've got a limited amount of plums. I know from experience that my pan only takes about, don't get 2 kilos in there, it's a little bit too full. So I say 1.5 kilos of fruits. Simple recipe is 1 kilo of apples, 1 kilo of plums, and then 1.8 kilos of sugar. But what I'm going to do is weigh the plums up, aiming for 1.5 kilos of fruits, and then I'll put just slightly less than 1.5 kilos of sugar in it, and weigh the apples out to match. So how do you get the stone out plums? Oh, easy. Yeah, this is easy. And it's nice to prepare your own jam. I made that jam, I made that gin. I wish I could brew. I made the wine. I made the, apple cider vinegar. Yeah, it's good. Self-sufficiency at its finest. Except, I don't know how to get the plums. I did buy the plums in the supermarket. But they're all about at the moment. I just didn't go and salvage some plums. It's a little bit late, to be honest. And you notice all at this time of year, all the fruit are black. It's black fruit. It's sort of like blackberries, sloes, plums. They're all very ripe and dark. And eating those foods as well, that's, you know. I had a friend who was on a red diet. All the food she ate was red. And you know, I like that idea. Why not? If there's so many diets, why not eat the red diet? Lots of anthocyanins, I'm pretty sure. So good to enter the darkness, having eaten blackberries. That's all the plums I've got. I'm going to weigh the weight of the plums in pounds, in kilos. Correct on that. A bit less. 8.28. 821 grams, so 827 grams, that's just nearly, just over 3/4 of a kilo. That's about right. And I'll do the same in apples. I think I dropped a few. autumn is. I was looking through that video and I thought how much cauldron there was in that brewing of a jam, and I thought this is a great potential to sort of like brew your intentions into some kind of food or some kind of jam, especially something that you want to eat over the winter that can have a prolonged, you know, effect. It can be towards security, it could be towards nourishment, fulfillment. I know, the possibilities are endless, really. I'm going to put a cauldron out somewhere on my little altar, which is just a Dutch dresser, Welsh dresser kind of thing. And I'm going to redecorate to keep it all nice and cosy and warm. That should live in a car but won't go back in my new car. It's going in my kitchen, kind of ruining the vibe. So, dusting on. So I think the last thing I want to do is grab that cauldron. So to celebrate the elements of water, I guess. And to honour the cooking pot. There are so many stories about cooking pots, and they're all about abundance and fruitfulness and plentifulness. And you know, the story of the magic porridge pot, where it just keeps giving and giving and giving. It's a story of fruitfulness, it's a story of plentifulness, isn't it? The magic of this pot creates plentifulness. The story as well of stone soup. I don't know if you know the story of stone soup, but everyone was starving and some guy sits down and starts to make stone soup, and everybody gathers around and asks him what he's doing, and he says, I'm making stone soup. They said, oh, how's your stone soup going? He said, well, it's alright. It could really do with a few onions. And some guy goes, wait, I've got some onions. And he goes and he gets the onions and said, "Oh, how's the soup now?" He says, "It's great, but I think it could do with carrots." And some guy goes, "I've got some carrots, I'll go and get my carrots." And before you know it, through the power of the cauldron, love, community and giving, they end up with plentiful nutrition and nourishment for all. So in that beautiful kind of analogy there, I'm going to honour this cauldron and put it on my rather plain feature wall here. So maybe it's there, maybe. It should go centre stage. Squeeze in. Squeeze in. There we go. Wonderful. Being invited to the table. Only those who are worthy of being invited to my table are invited to my table. Anyway, I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye. You do not need to be worthy to be invited to this table. All are welcome, all are worthy, all are welcome to fulfill, to drink their fill, to enjoy the abundance of nature. And no one is unworthy.